Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. Welcome back to part 2 of Tales from the Village. Wah! At this rate, the hair I washed earlier is going to be dry by the end of relating my tales to you. So the other day I was mentioning the ice skates and I was talking about that it had been my little day of, or a morning of going to the post office, just running a couple of errands, post office, charity shop, drop off. And I was mentioning how it should have taken me half an hour, but oh boy, it didn't take me half an hour. It never does. But that's what I love about life, is that, you know, go with the flow, have the adventure, have your eyes open, experience, see the joy, see the beauty. And this day was one of those days. Oh my goodness, it was so perfect. So, back to the post office. I kind of skipped over the post office because I was thinking about these ice skates. Oh, so lovely. I want ice skates. I'm kidding, please don't anyone buy me ice skates because going skating is expensive. And I don't have a rink near me. Where is the nearest rink? Is there still the ice rink at Streatham? Is there one in Bromley? I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Why would you know? So that morning it started off with me going to the post office. Now, what did I have on me? I had, oh yeah, so I had a couple of parcels for shop customers, thank you. I also had an envelope, I needed to get a stamp for it. It's from my, this is still going on, it's from my great aunt's ex-council, because all of last year I was paying the council tax and I was trying to organise getting a rebate. Gosh, they've made me jump through hoops. Anyway, this was one last form for me to fill in to say, you know, when she died, when probate was granted, all this kind of box ticking exercise. So I had that in an envelope, but I needed a stamp for it. So, going to the post office and I'm in the queue. It's not a huge queue. There's me, there's a woman behind me, there's a chap, and then a couple more people. All 3 counters were open. It's one of those things, I think, just don't be in a hurry. If you can help it, plan your day so that you're not in a hurry. You know, you're not got the car parked on double yellow lines, whatever. Give yourself time so that if you're in a queue, being in the queue is not going to make you too grumpy. Hey, I get grumpy queuing as well, but you know where I get grumpy queuing? Where I didn't mean to be grumpy today. The place that I get grumpy queuing is in, we've got a little one of those, you know, the sort of Tesco metros. This is what makes me grumpy. They have one person on the checkout and then they've got the self-serve machines. There'll be a massive queue of people for the actual human being checkout. And from the checkout they shout, use the self-service machines, use the self-service machines. Now the self-service machines are card only. I use cash. And secondly, I don't want to use a machine, I want a human. But what really gets me giddy goat is the people who do use the self-serve machine, the self-serve machines break every 2 minutes. So the person who's serving on the counter, they have to come out from behind the counter and go and fix the machine. So you can literally be, I can be face to face with the cashier, they'll be halfway through my basket and then they just drop me like a lead balloon and go and see to the self-service person. And I think, hang on a minute, I've been queuing for ages to get to the checkout. That person just walked straight over to the self-service machine. They can blimmin' well wait. I was here first. You were in the middle of serving me. Not only that, but then, you know, all these, oh God, I don't even know what the companies are called. You know, these like home delivery things. I don't mean the home delivery from Tesco itself, but what they're called, like Getter, or Deliveroo and all these things. When the motorbike couriers come into the shop to pick up an order, I'm at the checkout being served, drop me. They drop me like a lead balloon to serve the motorcycle courier. And I think, hang on a minute, that person's too lazy to even get to the shop, serve me. Now look, I know that some people use Deliveroo and that, not because they're lazy, but because they're housebound. So I get it. I'm not having a go at housebound people. But I'm sure there's quite a lot of people out there who are using it because they are lazy gits. Anyway, how did I get onto Tesco? Yeah, queuing. In the post office, I don't mind, the time it takes to queue. The postal staff, they're working as fast as they can go and they're being helpful. I only mind queuing at Tesco's when there's tons of staff on the shop floor chatting with each other. One person serving everyone, and the self-serve machines, they're actually serving those, and all the motorbike couriers that come in. One person. I've written a letter to the management to say it's not fair on your staff, because when people do get to the counter, to the till, and I try not to do it myself, the public are biting the head off that cashier to say, your queues are, they give the cashier a hard time. It's not that cashier's fault that they're on their own. It's the management fault for not putting more tills on. I feel bad now for getting that off my chest. Nearly choked. And I'm pretty certain that I bet there's a load of you right now going, yeah, I know, I'm with you, Vivi. Back to the post office. So I was delighted, particularly delighted on that day, because one of the gentlemen who works there has been quite poorly, on and off poorly, since the start of this year. He too had ended up in hospital at one point with a chesty thing. Had come out of hospital, and I'd seen him about 4 weeks or so ago. He'd actually served me, and he looked grey. He's an older gentleman as well. Actually, he's beyond retirement age, but he likes doing a couple of shifts still, so something to do. He looked grey. He said he felt awful, and I just said, I don't want to get in your face, but can I suggest, respectfully, politely, that you leave work right now and get yourself to hospital because you don't look great. And the other two ladies, they were saying, we're telling him to go now. And he was saying, oh, I'll see. It was a Friday. He said, I'll see how it goes over the weekend. And I said, please, please, please do not wait over the weekend. Can you just go there now, this afternoon, now? So that was a few weeks ago. Anyway, I was delighted because on this visit I'm talking about, he was there. And I'm really delighted he'd taken my advice that afternoon, had left work, gone to the hospital and was admitted. He's got some cardiac issues. So the next time I went in and he wasn't there, it was obviously I was a bit upset that he wasn't there. Upset because they're saying, he's in hospital. I was like, oh my goodness, please pass on my best wishes, what have you. And now finally he's back home, he's back at work. I said to him, are you sure you should be back at work? He said, yeah, better than being at home. God love him. Anyway, so my turn comes, I step forward, step up to the guy to serve me, so sweet. And I was going through my bits and pieces, and maybe this is a bit, I'm trying to think of time now, because I know my back was still really sore. I'd gone back to the garden, I was back at the garden, but my back was still really sore, and it's just that thing of like, oh, I don't really want to move. Anyway, so I'm there, I'm getting my parcels out and getting things weighed, and the little letter that I was mentioning for my great aunt's old council, it just went whoosh, fell off, and it kind of scooted away across the floor, like sort of floating down. And I was like, oh, went to bend to pick it up. Anyway, not the woman in the queue, the man behind her, he just jumped out of nowhere, grabbed it, picked it up and put it in my hand. And I said, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And he said, I'm just thinking of saving your back. He said, not that I was eavesdropping, but I just heard you. And I said, no, it's fine. Because when I got to the counter, to the window, I said, how are you? To the guy serving. And he was retelling about, the hospital and all that. And I said, I'm so glad you're here. And he said, here in the post office, not here on earth. I mean, I'm glad he's here on earth. Anyway, and he said to me, how are you? And I said, I'm okay in terms of the chest. I said, but my back's been really bad and it's just really annoying, struggling with the garden. Anyway, so this guy had heard that and he jumped forward and put the letter into my hand, and I thought, you're so lovely, thank you. And I said, thank you so much. And he's really apologetic. I wasn't eavesdropping. I was like, no, it's fine. I know I've got quite a loud, projecty voice. Thank you. So that was nice. And then I didn't hear the business that was going on, but at the next window, there was a young guy, I don't know, 17, 18, 19 or so, late teens. And he was kind of like, he just looked like, yeah, you're a moody teen. You know, he's got his jeans halfway down his bum, so his undies are showing, and he's got his hood on, he's got his hands stuffed in his pockets, and he's like doing sort of Mardy. And there was a problem. He was trying to sort, I mean, he wasn't being horrible or anything, just being that kind of, just looks like a moody teenager. And he was struggling with something. And then he said, well, how much will it be? And the lady said, £14 something. She said, £14 something. I didn't hear about. And he's going, oh, I've got no money. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't do it. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I was kind of aware of that going on next to me as I was just finishing my last parcel. And then I could have cried. I am going to cry retelling the story. The guy, so by now the woman who was in the queue behind me, she's, you know, gone to her window. Or had she gone? It doesn't matter. But the guy who'd helped me with my envelope, I don't know, he just stepped in and he's got one of these, you know, these kind of watches, like Star Trek watches, where it's like a watch and a telephone and a bank all at the same time. He just stepped forward and he went like that. He zapped his watch onto the payment reader and paid for this young guy. And the young guy was going, oh, no, I can't have you do that, I can't. And the man said, mate, it's fine, let me get it for you. You need it, whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but he said, let me help you. And, oh my God, I could cry. So he did it, he zapped it, stepped back a bit. And then this young lad was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then there's some paperwork, receipt, whatever, that was given to him. Off he went. I'm still doing my stuff. So now that guy, it's his turn to come to the window. So now he's at the window next to me. And I said to him, that was a beautiful thing to do. You're so kind. And he said, no, you know, it's no skin off my nose. You know, just help someone. And I just thought, you know, it's just so lovely. So I'm getting finished up with my stuff now, get my receipts, get ready to go. And I sort of squeezed this guy's arm. I forget about touching people. I'm a hugger, I'm a toucher. I squeezed his arm and I said, you really are a kind person. I really hope you have a wonderful day. You've made mine, thank you. Good night, I was sad about it. And off I went. And he was kind of going, sort of thing. I came out of the post office and I was thinking, wow, did that just happen? Is he an angel? I should have checked his back for the wings, but the tiniest thing, you know, it was obviously no big deal to him, but for that lad, it was everything. And for me in that moment, it saved me bending down. It was just so nice. So I came out and I just stood a moment on the street and I thought, right, I need to pay that forward. We should always pay it forward. And I sort of lost in my own little world and I was coming back up the hill because while I'd been in the post office queue, I got a message from a friend who she's a local friend, I've been trying to see her for ages, but then I got really we were going to meet up just before Christmas and I was starting to feel a bit and I wasn't bothered for myself, but I was concerned about seeing her in case I've got something. Do you remember, because I couldn't get a COVID test at that point, there were no tests around. So we kept cancelling and then obviously I end up in hospital. I come out of hospital and start to feel a bit better. She gets poorly, so we cancel again. Then we both feel okay and then my back goes out and I was grumpy. So anyway, she messaged to say, how are you doing? Why don't we meet up today? And I was like, yes, I tell you what, I'm out and about now. I'll come over and see you in half an hour or so. Yay, fantastic. So I'm coming up the hill, heading to this friend, and coming down the hill is one of our local characters, shall we say. Very well known in the area. There's a guy and he's got no legs. No legs at all. He's fine, don't worry. So he's always zipping out and about in his wheelchair. He uses a hand push wheelchair as well. It's not electric. And he whizzes around and I can't remember the first time I ever saw him, but I saw him at a crossing and he was a bit stuck on the curb and I said, would you like a hand? It's years ago and he was like, no, I'm fine. It was like, oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to offend. I just, you know, he does not need a hand. He's absolutely fine. So He was coming down the hill with his gaggle of kids. Yeah, he really doesn't need a hand in that department. He's got a gaggle of kids. They're all under 7 or 8 or so. Cute, 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 cute kids. They have the most crazy energy. Just this wonderful, massive, massive energy. I love seeing them out and about. So on this occasion, they're coming down the hill. So obviously the dad, he's using both his hands to push his chair. The oldest kid, who's about, like I say, 7 or 8, he's pushing a pushchair. And it's one of those pushchairs with a single wheel at the front and 2 at the back, you know, like a jogging pushchair. And this pushchair has got the biggest bag you can imagine on the top of their laundry. So the biggest of the little ones is pushing this pushchair, and there's another one who's about 4 and another one who's about 2, and they're like, oh, they're in their own world, just skipping around, and they're making their way to the laundrette. So they're coming down the hill towards me. I'm going up the hill. The laundrette's about halfway. And I'm just smiling at the kids because, like I said, their energy is crazy but lovely. And little one, he goes to push the pushchair into the laundrette, but there's a bit of a step. And as he pushed it, because it's only a single front wheel, it sort of flipped sideways and jammed. And in this split second, this whole mountain of laundry started to fall. And I mean, I was only like a couple of paces away, so I sort of lurched in. It was like slow motion, lurched in, whoa, grabbing this massive sack of laundry. Another woman who'd been walking up, she slow motion, whoa, went in and grabbed the handles of the pushchair to sort of right it. It was like, whoa. The lady in the laundrette came over the door to, all super quick, but then I was able to bend down, goodness knows, because of my back, but lift the front end of the pushchair up over that lip, and then it's like hands off, don't help too much because we don't want to emasculate this little 7-8-year-old who's doing a really good job of pushing the chair. Push it in, take their laundry into the laundrette. And I carried on my way up the hill, and I thought, does that count as paying it forward? Stopping their laundry going flying in the street. I thought, yeah, maybe that's counted. Maybe that's my paying it forward today. Thank you for putting that opportunity in my way. Thank you that I was there to lend a bit of a helping hand. Not a big deal, just a little thing, but done. Brilliant. So I'm now going up the hill to visit my friend, and on the way, bearing in mind I've literally just gone out to post a couple of parcels. On my way, I go past my favourite charity shop. Now, it's the charity shop that always have a fantastic selection of books. Their prices have gone up recently. Well, not recently. Before lockdown, the prices went up. So I am way more choosy now. And of course, I'm not allowed to buy books this year, in my low spend year. But I sometimes find things there that I'd like to buy to then sell on in my shop. But also, it's the one charity shop in the area that does sell bits of fabric and haberdashery, zips, buttons, patterns, all those bits and pieces. So it's great because they sell that sort of stuff. Not only can I find bits there for my work, but also sometimes I end up with fabrics and I think, nah, I'm never going to use it. It's not really me. I can take it there and someone else can use it. Fantastic. So, reaching for a prop. I'm going to fan myself with this. It's getting so hot and stuffy in the flat now because I've got all the windows shut. So I thought, it's on the way to work. I'm just going to pop in and see if there's any fabric, as you do. I've been going in there for 20 odd years since I moved to the area. I've been going in there a lot more since I stopped working 5 years ago. So the reason I'm mentioning that is over time you get to know the staff, and you know, I'm very chatty girl, but I'm very friendly. I'll always say hello to people. How are you? And after a while, you know, when you've been seeing the same staff after a while, I say, what's your name? I can't just go each time, what's your name? They tell me that. So the next time I go in, I can say, hello, they're not called d. That'd be weird. It's like some kind of Morse code name. Hello, d. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should learn everyone's names in Morse code. So next time I go in the shop, I'll say, hello, Digress, Vivi. So I popped in and just looked in all my usual places, looking at bits of it. I found a little bit of fabric. Now, it's a really tiny remnant. It's not even a fat quarter. I looked at the price and I thought, are they having a laugh? That's way too much. I thought it was too expensive. It's not even a fat quarter, but I really, really liked it. And I've got it in mind for something. So I thought, oh, you know what? It's for charity. Suck it up. But it was too much. Anyway, I had it in my hand. I carried on looking around. There was nothing else that day. So I took this up. I'll show you the fabric first. It's really cute. Some of you will have seen it on Instagram, any of you that are on Instagram. Isn't that adorable? Little cherries. So it's, I've gone fuzzy, haven't I? In terms of colour, lovely, sort of pinks and reds, which I use a lot. And I've been cutting. I haven't got around to doing any sewing because of gardening life and stuff. Have I come back into focus yet? But I've done a load of cutting for some more lavender bags. And I've got some lovely pinks, but I've got some, I kind of had in mind that I would like some more fabrics for the backs of lavender bags. It's so annoying, this focus. I don't know what it is. Okay, we'll try and ignore it. So I thought that would be great. And out of it, I think I can get 3, maybe 4 bag backs. I might get 3 bag backs and maybe 2 squares for patching for the front. But I just thought it's lovely. I'm going to have it. It is too expensive, but I like it. So I got to the counter and so one of the regular women there, I think she's actually employed by the charity now rather than just a volunteer. I don't mean just a volunteer. I didn't mean that, you know, not being dismissive of volunteers. And I handed it over and she looked at me and she said, Vivi, isn't this one of the fabrics you donated? Are you buying back your own donation? And I said, no, honestly, I'm definitely not. She was like, are you sure? I don't want you buying back your own donations. And I said, no, trust me. I have spotted a couple of my donations on the shelf, but this definitely didn't come from me because I wouldn't have donated it in the first place. I said, it's gorgeous, isn't it? Then she went to get the price tag and she went, that's too much. And I said, well, yeah, I thought so too, but I don't really want to argue. She was like, no, that's too much. And she rang up at half the price. Bless her. So lovely. I mean, in fairness, it really was overpriced. If it had been Tula pink, it wouldn't have been overpriced. And then another day, I was in there browsing and she just slipped in behind me and she gave me this card. It's not written in it or anything, but she just gave it to me. She said, oh, it's going to reflect, isn't it? There we go. She said, it reminded me of you. She said, not because it's an old lady, she said, but it just reminds me of you with your airing rack and your fabrics and the allotment cats. Isn't that sweet? It's called Winter Wash Day. That's what happens when you take, you take your time and talk to people. So I left the charity shop with a little bit of fabric in my hand that, no, wasn't one of my old pieces that I donated and bought back. I don't think I've ever done that. I think I would know. It's funny though, occasionally, because I've given them loads of my books over time. And remember I had that big declutter before, just as we were heading into the winter. I gave them a load of my paperback mountaineering books, not my hardbacks, I want to try and sell those, but a load of the paperbacks, and they didn't get put on the shelf for ages. And then at some point, I think it was in January, I'd gone in there and there was a load of them had been put on the shelf, and I was looking at it, I was going, oh, that's good. And I started, and I had a pile of about 4, and then I suddenly thought, Vivi, these are your old books, you idiot. Put them back. Yeah, I just thought they looked great. And that's because they were great, but I'd read them all. That's better. I couldn't cope with the fuzzy anymore, so I turned the camera on and off. No, off and on again. So I left the charity shop. I forgot, no, I'm all right. And finally got round to go and see my friend. And she's been saving up Amazon packaging for me. She's a bit of an Amazon junkie. Anyway, that was great. Picked up a load of packaging material for me to use to reuse in sending parcels out from my shop. But what was really lovely, and I don't know how she managed to keep it quiet, I knew the minute I went into the flat, she had a funny grin on her face, I knew. She's pregnant. Oh, so she's been wanting to get pregnant for the longest time. And I'm just, yeah, really happy for her. She's only, well, at that point, she was 8-9 weeks. So, yeah, I'm gonna be an auntie. I'll have to start thinking about some makes for when the baby arrives. Because she's not rich, this friend of mine. Well, she'd be rich if she stopped doing Amazon. But I think it'd be nice to put together a little kind of hamper. I could maybe do things like some sort of blankets, and I could maybe do a sleeping bag, a baby sleep bag. Yeah, I'm going to have a think on it. Gender unknown. We were both saying it's going to be a girl, it's got to be a girl. So I'll find some gender neutral. I don't like gender colouring anyway, but yeah, I'm going to have to start thinking about some makes for when the baby's due. First week of December. So what an absolutely lovely morning. I'm supposed to be posting a parcel. I end up posting parcels, experiencing this wonderful human being, helping other people. I go to the charity shop to drop some stuff off, see the gorgeous ice skates, have great memories, walk up the high street, get my chance to pay it forward by helping that family with their laundry, find a lovely little bit of fabric, have a great conversation in the charity shop, go round to my friends, she's pregnant, brilliant. I come away, arms loaded up with packaging, and I come back to my front door. It's now 4 hours later. That's what I mean about it. It's supposed to be, it should have been a half-hour errand running thing. It was 4 hours later. And just as I put my key in the front door, the street door downstairs, so I'm in the street still, put the key in the front door, and I just heard a, "You going down the plot later?" I turn on, and there's our Gary. And that always means another half-hour conversation, at least. So yeah, Gary and I had a bit of a chat on the doorstep. That was it. Came upstairs, flopped, because I felt a bit, I've been upright quite a lot. And I was just grinning from ear to ear, thinking, oh, I just live in the best place ever. I mean, I know we all think where we live is the best place. Well, some of us do. It's it's one of those reasons people say to me, "Oh, move out of London, you'll make a fortune from your flat." No, I won't. Go move to the countryside, this, that and the other. It's like, yeah, but I've got everything I want and need here on my doorstep. Plus, my friends, the community. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it takes time to establish that. It takes time to build those friendships and relationships. So yeah, I'm not in a hurry to leave here. Now, way back at the beginning of part 1, I was mentioning that I live in the borough of Lewisham, and that Lewisham is the hospital I go to. There is another hospital very near that I can go equidistant, but that way. So, oh no, I've missed a day. But they connect. Now, I have been trying to get back on with sewing, so I've got a really itchy bit around my back. I've been trying to get back to sewing. I've done a lot of fabric cutting, so even if I haven't done any sewing yet, I've done masses of cutting. And as I was getting different fabrics ready, there's some for lavender bags, some for bunting, what have you, I was just going through my thread stash and thinking, oh, I'm getting a bit low on thread. And I use Gutermann. Also, it's, you know, it's great all-purpose thread. It's strong. It's got a beautiful, it's a really smooth fibred thread, so it doesn't snarl the machine up, all this kind of stuff. I'm looking over there because that's where I keep my threads. But I was going through my stash and I was thinking I'm getting a bit low on certain colours. I could do with buying some more. Now in the past, I always get my thread at my beloved sewing shop, fabric shop, which is in Lewisham. And that's the one that closed at the end of February when the owners retired. We're all heartbroken and bereft. So I've got another place on my actual little high street that does stock a few of the threads. Essentially they are a curtains and carpet shop, but they do have a bit of haberdashery out back, so they sell a few little odds and ends for knitting, but it's more the accessories rather than itself fabric. So I popped in to have a look at their threads, and they're not really the colours I want or need, or not at the moment. So I thought I'm going to have to buy some online. I'm going to have to order some online. So I can't remember what I keyed in, but I was looking for, you know, cheap Gutermann thread. Who's selling them cheap? And then I found this little shop, Crafty. I just have the name for you. Crafty Creatives or Creative Crafties or... Sorry, I've forgotten. Anyway. And each spool of 100 metres costs £2. Now, there are some colours where you can get a spool of 1,000 metres, so white, red, black, navy blue, I think. Cream. Is the red in it? I can't remember. You can get larger spools, and it's much, much more economical to buy a larger spool. However, the colours are... There's a really narrow colour choice in those really large spools, and a lot of the colours I use are, you know, the yellows and the pinks and the apple greens and those really bright colours. You just can't get them in the large spools, so you're stuck with a 100 metre spool. It costs £2, £1.95, £1.99, you know, it's £2. So I thought, I wonder if someone's selling them online bulk where I can get them a bit cheaper. And yeah, I found some that worked out at, I've already forgotten how much. So there's 8 in here, and these were £11. So if I bought all of these separately, it would have cost me £16. But I got them for £11. See, look, these are my kind of colours. I've got 2. Let me show you them side by side. And you'll any of you who have either bought sewn product from me or seen pictures on Facebook, you'll instantly recognise these as my kind of colours. So we've got the kind of the bright version of, you know, the pastel version. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I mean, they're like candies and jewels, aren't they? Love them. Now, have I gone fuzzy again? Anyway, bargain. So I can't be bothered to work out the unit amount. Is it £1.30? 8 would be £8. 3 8s are 24. 8, 10, 40. £1.35. £1.35 a reel instead of £2. About 65 pence a reel saving. Fantastic. Doesn't stop there though. They came in these little tins. But look how gorgeous the tins are. Can you see which one's that? 1927. Gutermann's, I don't know what that spelling is. Isn't that cute? That's the 1927 one. And then this is the 1928 one. Aren't they lovely? So I've got these beautiful little tins to keep them in. I mean, I'd pay £5 for a tin like that anyway. So it was a range, or at least this shop had them called, it was called Gutermann Nostalgia. I mean, I didn't care about that. I just cared about the fact that I could get 8 reels for less than £16. The colours I use. Aren't they cute? I'm chuffed. Thank you. they didn't have very many left, so I don't know if they still will, because this is now, this is probably about 2-3 weeks ago I did this. Thread, so normally, like I said, I used to buy at my beloved fabric shop, and the great thing about buying there is, of course, when I'm buying my fabric, I can get a really close match with my thread. Actually, it's not too much of an issue, say, with the bunting or patchwork, because the thread's on the inside, it doesn't really show. But when I make up the bunting, when I sew each of the flags into the tape, I'm top stitching, essentially. So then I either want my colour to be an exact as I can match, or a real contrasting colour to make it pop. Not really on the bunting, but yeah. So what I have over there somewhere is I've got a little envelope, and I've got little small pieces of all the different webbings I use, the taped webbings, so that whenever I'm out and about, I have that with me, so that if I'm buying thread, I can immediately, you know, the yellow, whisk it out, match it. So that shop shut, and really disappointed. I understand it, you know, they wanted to retire. What I was really disappointed in, though, was that it wasn't sold as a going concern, because that shop is always packed, absolutely packed to the rafters, always so busy, always such a buzz in there, and it was always such a lovely eclectic group of people, crafters like me who are down at the back end of the shop in the quilting weight fabrics section, people in there for dressmaking, younger people, the art students from the art school. There's an art school around the corner. Just this really eclectic mix of ages, genders, ethnicities. I loved it. So yeah, really upset when I heard it was going to be closing. And one of the things I was upset about, apart from, yeah, I've lost this great shop, I was thinking, well, where am I going to get my fabric from now? Because yeah, I know we can buy fabric online, but it's not the same. It's not the same as actually being able to feel it. But also for me, part of my creative process in the fabric shop is I can quite often end up with 20 bolts of fabric on the table, and I'm continually moving them to match them, to see how they work together. And eventually I might rationalise that down to, say, 12 different fabrics that I buy. I can't do that online. So yeah, it's been bugging me for ages. I don't know where to go for fabric now. Locally, there are a couple of places, but the range is tiny, and they're stocking really fancy, expensive stuff. They're stocking the kind of Tilda, Tula Pink, Liberty, William Morris. They're stocking stuff that's over £20 a metre. If I used that to make my bunting would suddenly cost £50 a string, not 20, you know. It's just not viable. Yes, I've been really gutted about that for ages. But the other day, I was back at the hospital, had another appointment there. It's all going fine. There's just kind of now sort of a bit more monitoring, make sure things are really getting back to normal. And it was one of those kind of funny afternoon appointment times, you know, it was about 3:45. So, that's kind of annoying time. If I leave it to travel up there to like 3, I might start to hit the school traffic. Anyway, so I decided to go a little bit earlier and therefore go into the town centre. I had a couple of random bits and pieces to get anyway. I thought, I'm just going to have a mooch. They've got some nice charity shops up there. I'm still after some orange fabric for Sheena's bunting. It feels like it's never going to happen. So I thought, yeah, I'll go a bit early, miss the school traffic, and have a bit of a mooch, see if I can get my hands on some fabric. So there are, I think it's 4 charity shops in total. Went to all of them, just came away empty-handed, and I was feeling really quite down, actually, because it's like, oh, it's kind of a chunk of my day with this appointment, and I haven't found any fabric, and I think I was just feeling generally a bit low anyway. Just not enough hours in the days at the moment. Won't go on one. So I was coming back along, actually behind where the old fabric shop was. The old fabric shop had a back entrance, but it was actually never open because it was always piled high. So the shop was on almost like a bit of an island. So the main entrance is here, long shop, and the back is here, opening onto a different street. Does that make sense? So this is one street, this is another street. The shop went right the way across. So this little side road here, if I walk down it, it takes me to the bus stop to get to the hospital, because the hospital is kind of right up there, but it is about 5 bus stops away. It's once upon a time I would have walked it and not thought about it. These days, nah. So it's a hop back on the bus. So I was coming back down this side street, round the back end of the old shop. There's still bits and bobs in there. The signage is still up. I was like, you know, sad. So I'm outside the back of the old shop. I have to cross over to come on this side for the bus stop because the traffic's coming this way. Cross over, and I'm opposite the little Italian deli, and I was half-minded, like, go in and get a treat. It's like, no, you're broke, no treats. Ooh, poor me. And I was turning to walk, and I sort of had my head down a bit, but then out of the corner of my eye, I saw this kind of empty sort of shop window, but there was a roll of fabric propped up, and it's a shop that's been shut forever. It's never had a shop there, and I thought, oh, I wonder if it's like a pop-up shop. You know, sometimes when a shop has been empty for years, occasionally you'll get a pop-up shop for a day or a week. So I looked around and I was like, oh, it's kind of empty-ish, but I can see fabrics in there. So I stand back to look to see. There's no signage, there's nothing. There's a couple of women in there. I pushed on the door, it was open. I said, oh, are you open? What's going on? And they went, oh, well, not officially, not till the beginning of June. I said, oh, I'm looking around, is it going to be a fabric shop? And then the penny dropped. The woman I was talking to, I said, oh, you're the lady from Rolls and Rems, aren't you? That was the name of the old shop, was Rolls and Rems. You're the lady from Rolls and Rems. And then I looked at the other lady, she was on the phone. She had a clipboard and she was rattling through. She was obviously putting an order in, rattling through. And I was like, oh, you're from Rolls and Rems. Is this going to be a new Rolls and Rems? Is this going to be, are you saving my bacon and the bacon of every other stitcher in the neighbourhood? And she said, well, we're not going to be Rolls and Rems, but she's pointing to the lady on the phone. The lady on the phone used to manage the old shop. She was the manager. She didn't own it. The owner's retired, but she managed it. So she has now opened this new business for herself. So she's got years of experience from Rolls and Rems, and obviously a ready-made customer base. Oh, good luck to them. So they're not officially open, but I hung out for a bit and started poking around. And they had, in the corner, in like a tea chest, they had some old bolts of fabric. And I could tell straight away it wasn't modern stuff. It's just some vintage bolts of fabric. And the bolts were tiny. They were only like this wide, skinny little bolts. We're used to seeing bolts this wide, either this wide or on tubes. But these tiny little skinny bolts, I just had to have some. It's not now, they're not my normal sort of style, but gotta love a vintage fabric. So that was one piece I bought. I love that. That's very autumn, sort of autumn, winter, cosy, dark. This is a bit brighter, a bit more sort of summery. Pretty, just lovely little florals. And then this one, which looks a bit 50s, 60s to me, really bright. This will be gorgeous for something. Look how bright that is, gorgeous. So like I said, none of them are particularly my taste style normally. But look, I want to support the business hasn't opened. I want to support a business. They gave me a great price, massive discount, great price. I had cash, so they were like, yeah, we'll take that, brilliant. How wonderful. So it is going to be a lot smaller than the old shop. a lot smaller. I'd say a quarter of the size. So I doubt, I did say to her, will you be stocking Rose and Hubble, which is one of the main fabrics I like for, it's the quilting weight cotton poplin. Beautiful prints. So they will be stocking some, but I just don't see how in that shop they won't be able to stock anything like Rolls and Rems had. And I don't know, in Rolls and Rems, was dressmaking the big seller? Because it would make sense for the new business to sell whatever sold best in Rolls and Rems. They will be doing the Gutermann threads. They'll be doing bits and bobs of haberdashery, but like in the old place, they had a massive ribbon wall. So, you know, 5 feet tall by maybe 8, 9, 10 feet wide, the ribbon wall. They wouldn't have space in the new shop for so much ribbon. So I think it's that thing of like, okay, let's just scale back the excitement and the expectation at the moment, but let's hope that, you know, the business takes off, they fly. And you know what, maybe if the business really takes off and does well, maybe at some point they can find a slightly larger premises and therefore have larger stock. No idea. But anyway, I was delighted to come away with 3 lovely vintage linens, cracking price they gave me. It's just lovely to see. It was just lovely to see those 2 familiar faces again, and I was kind of hopping about all excited, and they were excited, and I can just imagine, I know that within the stitching community, the geographical community, I know they're going to do great. We all loved the old shop. We're going to love the new shop. We loved the old staff. The old staff are the new shop. So it's going to be a winner, isn't it? It's got to be. I tend not to, excuse me, I'll have a slug. I tend not to go up there because it is a bus ride and that adds the expense. I tend not to go up there just to go to the fabric shop. I try to combine it with other things. And I was thinking, I've got another CT scan of my lungs coming up, but it's on a Sunday. I mean, great, all these services happening on a Sunday and the shop won't be open. But what I'm thinking is, I think I probably will have one more meeting with the respiratory consultant before they can put a big tick next to my name and say, you've been a perfect student, off you go, you don't need us anymore, I'm hoping. So I'm thinking that if that, because we're in the middle of May now, I haven't had that appointment through yet, I'm thinking that appointment will be June. So you can bet your bottom dollar the next time I'm up at the hospital on a weekday, I'm going to be going to our new Rolls and Rems. There isn't Rolls and Rems. I must find out their name. In my excitement, I didn't even ask them their name the other day, but I got all excited when I got home and I went on to my local Facebook group to say, guess what? Because, you know, it was the talk of the town a little while ago. We've got a new Rolls and Rems, and people were I was trying to describe where it is, and they're like, oh, so is it the old back entrance to the shop? No, it's opposite the old back entrance, next to the Italian deli, da-da-da. We were like, yay! Yeah, people were, and we're 3 villages away. We're happy here. Oh, right, so I think with all that excitement, joy, look, I know I had a meltdown in the garden the other day. Well, it wasn't a meltdown. The meltdown didn't happen on camera. I did have a little cry that day. There is just some days like that. There's always a lot of pressure, and so much of the pressure is because it's time pressure. There's only one of me. There's only one pair of hands. And pretty much every day there's more to do in a day than I can possibly do. But even so, you know, I do try most days. I try to sort of stay open to opportunities, stay open to the possibility of joy and beauty, and so often, pretty much every day, you know, there will be something that I see or hear or experience that just fills my soul up, just makes me really happy. And you know what? I might spend a whole day feeling really sad and grumpy. I'm human. But for that split second to go, oh, yay. There are many, oh, yays. And you know what? This is the other thing. I'll get this box out in particular. I'm boiling. The minute this camera is turned off in a minute, the minute I'm going to fling all my windows open. My thermostat now says it's 32 degrees in here. And it's about 22, 23 outside. But with windows shut and the sun on the front window, yeah, it builds and builds and builds, which is why I'm now going a glow colour. If nothing else, when I'm having a down day or grumpy day, I was about to say a dumpy day, that doesn't sound right, does it? If nothing else, I can open up my box of threads and just look. Just look at the colour. How could you be grumpy looking at colours like that? Ah, impossible. And I think, you know, by the middle of June, being realistic, by the middle of June, the worst of the garden will be behind me. And I'm saying the worst because this year it really is the worst. Just bed prep, seeding, structures. The worst of it will be behind me. And then, all being well, I should coast a little bit. So from about the middle of June through July and August, it is slightly more coasting in so much as the garden becomes about a bit of weeding, a bit of tying in, more gentle jobs. I slightly dread a drought year because then that's carrying water cans and that's a lot of work, but even so as I go hopefully into that slightly more coasting time with the garden, then I can ramp things up at home with the sewing and do my other joy in life, which is creating art with fabric, using fabric as my paint box. So yeah, all will be well, and every day there are moments of pure joy and beauty. So on that note, I need to go and open the windows. I'm cooking. Oh, and I need to think about food. Don't know what I'm going to eat today. We're kind of getting into salad territory now, aren't we? As in eating cold food. So I might go and put on a couple of pans, and do a load of rice and a load of beans that can then form the basis of some salads over the next few days. Oh, with lovely sharp lemon and pungent garlic and dressings that the thought of them makes me squirt saliva and dream of the first tomato. Oh, can't wait. Right, but I must wait because nature's got to have time to do her own thing. So I'll see you all again really soon, I hope. Probably in the garden because it's that time of year. And soon I'm going to do the video about online selling, and we'll just see what happens. We'll just see where life takes us and where we want to go with what we chat about. Until the next time, please look after yourselves, look after each other, keep smiling at strangers, and keep your heart open to opportunities and beauty each day. Cheerio!